West Africa is a land of vibrant cultures and deep, often overlooked history. For centuries, its stories have been whispered on the winds of the Sahara and carried along the currents of the Niger River. These are not tales of a continent waiting to be discovered, but narratives of extraordinary human achievement, of innovation, and of societies that shaped their own destinies long before outsiders arrived. We often hear about the great empires of Rome or Greece, but the history of West Africa is just as rich, filled with its own unique triumphs in science, art, and social organization. This is a story of ingenuity, a testament to the creativity and resilience of people who built remarkable civilizations from the ground up, leaving a legacy that continues to inspire us today. Long before many other parts of the world, the people of West Africa were pioneers in agriculture. They were among the first humans to understand the secrets of the soil and harness its power. They didn't just wait for nature to provide, they actively cultivated it. Communities learned to grow native crops like pearl millet, African rice, and sorghum, foods that could withstand the region's challenging climate. This agricultural revolution was not a small step. It was a giant leap for humanity. It allowed populations to grow, villages to become towns, and complex societies to emerge. This deep connection to the land, this mastery of farming, laid the very foundation for the great empires that would later rise. Alongside farming, another incredible innovation was taking place: the domestication of cattle. Around 9,000 years ago, communities in the Sahara, which was then a greener, more fertile land, began to manage herds of cattle. This was a profound change in how people lived. Cattle provided not just meat and milk, but also a new form of wealth and social status. They became central to cultural life, celebrated in art and rituals. This ancient partnership between humans and animals shows a deep understanding of the natural world. It was a sophisticated system of animal husbandry that allowed people to thrive in a changing environment, demonstrating a level of foresight and planning that was truly ahead of its time. Perhaps one of the most significant technological breakthroughs in West Africa was the independent invention of iron smelting. While many parts of the world learned this skill from others, West Africans developed it all on their own, possibly as early as 1500 BCE. This was a game changer. Blacksmiths, who were often seen as figures of great power and magic, learned to build furnaces that could reach incredibly high temperatures to extract iron from rock. With iron, they forged stronger tools for farming, more effective weapons for defense, and intricate objects for art and ceremony. This mastery of metallurgy gave West African societies a powerful advantage, fueling trade, expansion, and the rise of legendary kingdoms like Nok and Ghana. Symbols hold immense power. They connect us to our ancestors and tell us who we are. In Africa, one of the most enduring symbols is the Ankh. Originating in ancient Egypt in North Africa, its influence and meaning spread far and wide across the continent. The Ankh, often called the key of life, represents the concept of eternal life and the universe. It is a powerful reminder of a shared African heritage that predates modern borders. For many, it symbolizes a connection to a deep, sophisticated philosophical and spiritual tradition. Seeing the Ankh is to see a piece of a grand, unified African identity that has survived through millennia, a testament to its profound meaning. This powerful symbol is part of a vast cultural inheritance, but sadly, much of this heritage was violently taken away. During the colonial era, European powers looted countless historical artifacts from West Africa. These were not just objects, they were the historical records, the sacred relics, and the artistic treasures of entire nations. For example, the famous Benin bronzes were stolen from the Kingdom of Benin by British forces in 1897. These priceless plaques and sculptures, which documented the kingdom's history and beliefs, were scattered across museums in Europe and America. This act of looting was not just theft, it was an attempt to erase a people's history and deny their cultural achievements. Today, there is a growing global movement to return these stolen treasures to their rightful homes in Africa. This process, known as repatriation, is about more than just giving back objects. It is about justice and healing the deep wounds of the colonial past. When a stolen artifact is returned, it is a powerful acknowledgement of the wrongs that were committed. It sends a message that African history and culture are valued and respected. This movement is a fight for cultural sovereignty, a demand for the right of African people to be the guardians of their own stories and the custodians of their own heritage. The return of these artifacts is essential for cultural pride and historical understanding. Imagine a library with all its most important books stolen. This is what happened to many African societies. Bringing these objects back allows new generations to connect directly with their ancestors' creativity and wisdom. It helps to reconstruct a more accurate and complete picture of their past, one not defined by colonial narratives, but by their own rich traditions. For young Africans, seeing these masterpieces in their own national museums can inspire a profound sense of identity and pride. It helps them understand the true greatness of the civilizations from which they descend. The ingenuity of West African civilizations is spectacularly visible in their architecture. From the monumental mosques of Mali to the fortified cities of Nigeria, these structures were not just shelters, they were powerful statements of identity, faith, and social order. Consider the Great Mosque of Jenne in Mali, the world's largest mud brick building. It is a masterpiece of Sudano-Sahelian architecture, a style perfectly adapted to its environment. Every year, the entire community comes together to replaster the mosque's walls, a festival that reinforces social bonds and keeps ancient building techniques alive. This living monument shows how architecture can be both a work of art and a cornerstone of community life. These architectural traditions were diverse and incredibly sophisticated. In southern Nigeria, the ancient kingdom of Benin was famous for its massive city walls. These were a complex system of ramparts and moats built over centuries that were once longer than the Great Wall of China. They were not just for defense, they were a symbol of the Oba's power and the kingdom's organization. The planning and labor required to build such a structure speaks to a highly advanced society with a strong central government and skilled engineers. This was urban planning on an epic scale, demonstrating a mastery of both engineering and social mobilization that rivaled any in the world at the time. Further north in the Sahara, we find a different kind of architectural marvel, the fortified granaries of the Dogon people in Mali. Built into the cliffs of the Bandiagara escarpment, these structures were designed to protect the community's most valuable resource, its grain. Their clever design kept the grain safe from pests, moisture, and invaders. This was not just practical storage, it was a survival strategy encoded in architecture. The unique building style with its distinctive togu na, or men's meeting houses, reflects a deep understanding of the local climate and a social structure that values community discussion and collective security. This architectural heritage tells a story of adaptation and innovation. Whether using earth, wood, or stone, West African builders created structures that were sustainable, functional, and deeply meaningful. The Tichit Walata settlements in Mauritania, some of the oldest stone-built towns in the region, show a long history of urban living that dates back thousands of years. These ancient ruins remind us that West Africa has been a land of cities and complex societies for a very long time. The buildings left behind are not silent stones. They are voices from the past, telling us about the people who built them and the lives they lived. Beyond the cities and buildings, the artistic spirit of ancient West Africa is etched into the very rock of the landscape. The continent is home to some of the world's most impressive collections of rock art, providing a window into the minds of people who lived thousands of years ago. In places like the Tassili Niger in Algeria and sites across Niger, ancient artists painted and carved vivid scenes of their daily lives. We see images of hunters chasing animals, herders with their cattle, and people dancing in ceremonies. These artworks are a priceless record of a changing world, documenting the transformation of the Sahara from a lush savanna into the desert it is today. This rock art is more than just a historical archive, it is a celebration of human creativity. The artists use natural pigments and sharp tools to create works of incredible beauty and dynamism. The varying styles show the movement of different peoples and cultures across the vast landscape over millennia. Some paintings are simple and symbolic, while others are remarkably detailed and lifelike. This ancient art gallery, spread across thousands of miles of open rock, demonstrates a long and unbroken tradition of artistic expression. It is proof that the desire to create, to tell stories, and to make one's mark on the world is a fundamental part of the human experience in Africa. Remembering and respecting West Africa's heritage is crucial, not just for people of African descent, but for everyone. For too long, world history has been told from a single perspective, one that has often ignored or diminished the contributions of African civilizations. By learning about the agricultural innovations, the technological prowess, and the artistic achievements of West Africa, we gain a more complete and truthful understanding of our shared human story. It challenges outdated myths and stereotypes, replacing them with a narrative of strength, ingenuity, and cultural richness. This history belongs to all of us, and it enriches our collective knowledge of what humanity can achieve. Ultimately, honoring this legacy is about creating a more inclusive and just world. When we celebrate the Great Mosque of Djenné alongside the cathedrals of Europe, or study the Benin bronzes with the same reverence as Greek sculptures, we affirm that greatness is universal. We teach future generations that innovation and civilization have flourished in every corner of the globe. By including West Africa's powerful story in the grand narrative of world history, we are not just correcting the record, we are building a future where every culture is recognized, every history is valued, and every person can see themselves reflected in the great tapestry of human achievement.